Hello again, YouTubers. It's been a long time since I did the shower construction video, and I kind of feel like, well, I'm long overdue for a follow-up video. So I'm going to show you what all happened after I did the original start, and let me start with a recap. Let's go inside. I will move the magic wall. Now I've got toilet on this side, the door is closed, separate compartment, there's the shower, and there's the back door. I've also got a shade that pulls down. Now, a quick recap. I showed the washer pan base, and then I showed how to put in a narrow strip down here around the bottom that would conform, curve around, and that has to be sealed all around the bottom. And then another strip wider to overlap that. That comes part way up. And I think that's kind of where I left off with the video. But just to give some ideas of how to build one of these things. But before you go any further, you got to run some wires. If you want to have lights, these are just some LED lights. I can turn them off. You can see them. Nah, maybe not. These are LED marker lights. Came with a batch of marker lights that I bought. They came with amber and red. I used the red ones out here. Show you what they look like. There's a red one as a marker light on the outside of the camper. All right. Go back in. And it came with a bunch of clear ones, and they worked out nicely. They cast a good glow. They don't draw any amount of power. So I was able to run just some thin wires around and add those in. Then I put the top piece on, glued that in place, and you can see I just used a couple of leftover pieces, overlapped them. And then I put the piece from the kind of the belt line on up, push that up tight, glue that in place. And then everything gets caulked. You gotta caulk the stew out of it. All right, so now we're caught up to where I was saying that in the bottom, the washer pan has these ridges. It also has dirt from all the chairs and stuff that I store in here. But it has these ridges that would be uncomfortable to stand on. So I went to Harbor Freight and I got one of these rubber mats. And I've seen these other places, they have like a wood grain finish and different kind of things. They're just mats to walk on. So I took one razor knife, cut out slots so it would fit on those grooves. So now it can't slip around. I got a rubber plug. You definitely want to have a stopper in this thing to keep bugs out. And believe it or not, air conditioning drops out of that hole. So I always keep it plugged up. Okay, then I built a baseboard. This part along here to keep the splash in. I used pocket screws to hold it to the wall. And that means I used a drill jig that makes angled holes to where you can put the screw in on a shallow angle and it bites into the wall. And then you cover it. Cover plywood. I think I used 3/4 plywood. Covered it inside and out with more of the plastic. And then a piece of cap molding. It's actually just 1-inch aluminum channel on the outside, 3/4 on the inside. So it covered the 3/4 ply. The plastic just came up flush. Did the same thing up top. Made a header piece. Just step inside here. Made a header piece. The same cap. Just to make it look nice and finished and something you can caulk against. No water gets up there. If it does, you're doing it wrong. All right, now the shower curtain bar is a piece of aluminum flat bar. I curved it by hand. Maybe I can show you better from the inside. I just curved it around by hand, and I might have had a stomp on the ends to get them kind of folded in. Drilled some holes through it. Had just enough angle to get a couple of screws in. And it seems plenty strong enough. Never had a problem with it. and I hang a shower liner, just a standard shower liner with these common hooks, and it comes around. That was the reason for bringing it all the way around like this. So now you've got a good surround where nothing's going to splash out, because if you just had it from edge to edge, you know, you always have this, you always have gaps over here, or the fan blows and water gets out. Well, this comes all the way around, a full wrap. Let me get that out of my way. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. All right, then to get the water in here, I'll show you the outside pump in a minute. But I had to fish a hose down through the wall on the curved part of it here. Behind this curve, of course, is hollow, and this is sealant. I had to use a rod up from the bottom. I went to the floor, drilled through the floor of the camper, and hit that gap. And then I drilled a hole up top here, and I think I used a CB antenna or something. Ran it up in there, got it up to here, was able to run the hose down onto it. I used one continuous length of 1/2 inch OD, 3/8 ID vinyl hose. Shoved it down on there, and I had one of my boys pulling it out of the bottom as I was feeding it in the top. Once that hose came all the way through, I know there's no way it can break inside the wall. And then I added a piece here. You can put a check valve, which I did, that keeps it from running back into the pump. It's just a little 3/8 barb fitting with a check valve. And then the next piece of hose came from a camp electric cordless shower that I had. That's why it's got this orange end that matches that orange hook on the wall. But that handheld sprayer didn't work very well. It didn't shut off very well, and the pump was constantly going burp, burp. And then my wife got this thing on Temu. I've seen them on eBay. I just looked it up as plastic handheld shower, whatever. It's adjustable, but it makes a great spray. It's got good back pressure against the pump, so you can get good pressure out of it without using a lot of flow. And then that little adjuster thing happens to hook on my soap dispenser. That's how I'm hanging it right now, because it doesn't work on nothing works on this. Might as well just cut that off the wall. And then this soap caddy, the mount is glued to the wall. I use Johnson's baby shampoo because it rinses off really easily. It doesn't take a lot of water. I use body wash, like this Dove for Men. I've used Irish Spring. A lot of those, you find something that washes off easily. It doesn't take a lot of, that doesn't make a lot of suds that you have to wash off, and you'll save water. What else can I show you? Over here, I've got a power panel with the light switch, pump switch. You can hear it right there. I'll show you the spray. It's plenty strong. It'll wash the shampoo out of your hair. And it's got several settings. I like the fine mist spray. I think this part doesn't come with it. I'm pretty sure it's just a regular sink sprayer hose. So if you order a sink sprayer hose for a kitchen sink, in fact, a sink sprayer should work pretty well. And just use that and hook it up to your line coming out of the wall, out of your check valve. And remember, orient the check valve so the water doesn't flow back to the pump. It just stays in the line and can drain out. And that keeps it from the line from getting dry in between uses. So let's go outside. All right, outside I've got a 7-gallon water jug, nothing fancy. Could be anything, whatever fits in your rig. And under here I have a 12-volt electric pump, 1 gallon per hour. They're pretty cheap. I think I paid about $10 for this one years ago. I'll get some details on that if you need it. You can see the water I just ran is draining out of the pipe. I've just got it dropping straight down right now. If I'm in a place where they say you can't run gray water on the ground, and you have to have a little hose on that and run into a second jug, which I have a second jug right over there. But here it's fine to run it on the lawn, so I just let it drip. Now, the part that goes in the jug, you can't get a hose to go to the bottom normally, so I ran it through a piece of PVC and put screen on the end in case any dirt gets in there. And that gives me something that I can just set down in there and run it to the corner. That way I can get all the water out of the jug. And then to store it, I've got loops up under here. I hook the hose up on top of it. There's a certain way I hook it and shove it up under these loops to store it. So you'll need some way to store it up underneath. I've had it, I don't winterize it. I guess it freezes during the winter. It doesn't seem to hurt anything. The vinyl hose certainly expands. I have never had a problem with the pump in the winter, which is kind of strange. But again, you know, if I did, it's a $10 pump. Now, as far as heat, I'll sit the jug out in the sun, and it gets plenty warm enough for me on a hot summer day. If you need warmer water than that, you heat it on your stove and pour it in the jug. And it's 7 gallons is enough to do a couple of showers when you really get good at it. Start with your hair shampoo first, then rinse down your body, shut the water off. Rinse out shampoo and rinse out your hair, wet your body down, get some body wash all over you, scrub up and rinse off and shut the water off. And if you have to stop and scrub some more, shut the water off. Just get in the habit of shutting it off. It's got that switch right on the handle, and you only use a few gallons of water, especially if it's really cold. And then the shower gives you a nice place to store things. And here's all the stuff that I had in there. I think I need to thin that out a little bit. It's way too much stuff, and that's why I don't use the shower very often. And a lot of times I'm in regular public campgrounds and they have a shower house, and it's nice to go use their hot shower. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you.